Everybody, welcome back to Cataclysm. Dark days ahead. I think we're going to sleep right away because our character is tired. And we don't need to be awake during the daytime anymore. That's the wrong button. That's the wrong button. Sleep, yes. Okay. The character's pretty happy. We had a little bit of alcohol. Oh, I bet that icon, I wasn't sure what the icon was. I bet it was because we had taken some alcohol and we're tipsy. Oh, got a little damage in the last episode. Very disappointing. In the last episode, we failed to harvest any real bionics we killed a bunch of technicians and a shocker, and I think we got 2 bionics out of it. We got the anti-glare compensators, which are okay, and the LED tattoo, which is, I mean, no disrespect intended, but it's a virtually worthless CBM. Why is there just a... Oh, this was a corpse at one point. Looks like the corpse is rotted away, which is good news. I didn't really think about that. Yeah, they seem to have rotted away. It's just piles of stuff now, which I would set on fire, but I don't trust fire in this game because it spreads incredibly rapidly over tiles that you wouldn't think would spread very rapidly. No fertilizer. Still not ready for harvest. That's okay. Didn't expect them to be. Hoping this marijuana finishes growing before we hit winter time. What do we want to do today? You know, it's the last episode I'm going to record today. Maybe we'll just putter around the base, talk a little bit, and read some books. Do we have anything that would boost our first aid? Because I think that would help a lot with our trying to harvest. Didn't we have like a nicer first aid book? It would help us trying to harvest CBMs. Honestly, doesn't look like we do. That's a real bummer. Yeah, that's a bummer. Okay. Well, that kind of sucks. Okay. So, we didn't accomplish much today. I recorded 5 or 6 episodes. I mean, we did get the spear, steel spear, which was definitely an improvement over the one we had before. I really thought when we got the forge that we would be able to craft more stuff, and we really don't have. Like, I thought, like, oh man, we'll craft like real armor, but none of them. The only one we really have access to is the bronze greaves, which are trash. Well, they're not trash. It's just that we don't friggin' have any tin, and I don't know where you get tin. And like, the chainmail stuff popped up, but the chainmail is only if you already have chainmail parts, which is stupid. Chainmail armor requires ready-made chainmail parts. I don't want that. I want to make it from scratch, and you apparently you can't do that. Even though it's literally just metal rings that, you know, I knew a kid in high school who made a chainmail shirt out of, he literally had metal rings that he put together with pliers, you know, like, that's definitely within the scope of something the player character in Cataclysm would be able to do. But of course we can't actually do that. Why don't we just eat garbage? I don't feel like cooking anything. Eat a little chocolate. Do we still have those chips that are going bad? I don't think we do. Pieces of bacon we'll eat. Lots of calories in bacon. A lot of fat. Seasons. 1 week, more bacon, okay. 2 seasons, Everything else is yearly. That's fine. We'll eat some more pound cake, sponge cake rather. And then we'll drink some drinks. I don't know that we need calories from drinks because we already have taken in quite a few calories. What do we want to do? I mean, I guess reading would be the easy thing to do. We could just read and I could answer a bunch of questions to pass the time, make some conversation. What do we even want to read, though? Most of the stuff I want to read, we don't have the ability to read. Could read the computer book, I guess. Driving to 3. Driving is so inconsequential, though. Mechanics, we really don't need more mechanics. We put together a vehicle from scratch without any real problems. I don't see the sense. I don't think I have stats through skills on, so it wouldn't even really make a difference to our character. Could read unarmed combat, but I'm never going to use it. It's such a bummer. I mean, none of these books We could read some of these we picked up that we don't know yet. And I don't want to do the... I don't want to read the speech books because we don't even have NPCs turned on, I don't think. Let's learn to swim by reading a book, because that's how that works. Go ahead and put a fire in here. Start a fire. Why don't we get ourselves a question? That's the wrong button. Would you rather play a villain or a hero? Hero, easy answer. It's the luckiest thing that has happened to you. I survived. Is probably the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. I, throughout my life, have been in extremely difficult situations where where my life was in jeopardy. And the fact that I survived is probably the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. Because there's really nothing you can do to control those situations. It's really a crapshoot of who makes it and who doesn't. I mean, obviously there is components to it, you know, where you know, if you do things the right way, you're more likely to make it through. But there are also times when it really has no bearing on what you do. It just is going to be whatever it is. And yeah, so surviving, I guess, is probably... Don't bring up the whole... Move away from them. Let's read this. What does this do? Speaking to 6, never going to use it. Intelligence to... Oh no. Okay, I think that's like a quest book, which we're never gonna need. Why don't we read the rifles book? Yeah, I don't know. Surviving is pretty lucky. I've never really won or done anything exceptional that requires luck. Most of the time, I just kind of bumble through life and terrible things happen to me. Would you rather have a family of 12 children or never be able to have children at all? 12 kids, I think. When I was young, I liked being around kids. Always liked the idea of being a dad and a husband. As I've gotten older, that's become less important to me, mostly because I've gotten to the point where I kind of question whether anyone could ever love me, which is a little heavy for this conversation, and generally a very hurtful thing to think about. But yeah, I don't know. So at this point, I kind of suspect I will go through life without ever having children. So it would be nice to have some kids, I guess. Pass on the genes and all that stuff. Although I do suffer from mental illness, and I would hate to pass that to my children. I don't have great genes. Addiction runs in the family pretty deep. As do anger issues and just lots of compulsive things, and yeah, some mental illness in the family, and heart disease and baldness and all kinds of stuff. So it's like, maybe would be better not to pass that on to another generation. But at the same time, I think that, you know, at the end of the day, everyone dies, and one of the only things that gets left behind is your legacy. And for the average person, that means their children. Sometimes that can mean things like your company. Maybe you start a company, or you know, I'm a writer, so it'd be nice if my writing lived on after I was gone. But for most people, what gets, you know, the lasting legacy that you have is actually your children. Why don't we make... Oh, it's rotten. Why is it... Why is it rotten? Spam. Why did this cook and then become rotten by the time it was done cooking? And dump this outside. It doesn't make sense that that's rotten. It just came out of a can. Unless when I made spam before. Let's make one spam. Now let's look at the other. Let's look for spam. Open can. So that's what happened. We opened it to make some, and then... No, because we made 2 last time. Oh, we made 2 this time. Okay, well, let's make more, so it doesn't go to waste. We'll eat all 4. That's fine. Why don't we look at bread again? See what we can make with bread. Anything we can make quickly with bread? Probably not. Flatbread takes 15 minutes. Perishes in a week, though. I mean, we can make another sponge cake. I mean, we have the materials. The only thing is the sugar. It'll be okay. Oh, we failed to make it. Pour into the container of vegetable oil. Waste some materials. Let's try this again. You fucking... It's doing it again. Container for water. Pour into container. Container for vegetable oil. So let's look at this recipe. 4 of 4. Oh my god. Okay. Let's make something that I'm not going to fail because I don't want to break my computer with my fury. Let's make... We have potatoes. Let's make a baked potato. Eat a baked potato. I think that's okay for food. We'll drink something with calories in it. Lemon lime, lemon lime. Okay. That should do it. And we'll drink some water too, just to boost us the rest of the way if we're still thirsty. Getting hot. Why don't we take off some of our hotter clothing? Take off the Kevlar, take off the helmet, tack gloves. We can leave the arms and leg guards on. Our legs are hot. We'll take off the leg guards. And we will continue reading, I guess. Let's read. I don't really care. Let's read the driving, because at least we'll use that. Actually, let's stop reading. We're going to save. Let's get a question. Rather spend 1 year sailing around the world or 1 year living in your favorite foreign country? In your foreign favorite country. Well, that doesn't make sense, but... well, I can't swim, so sailing is kind of... would be constantly frightening. I've always wanted to go a couple places in the world, but now that well, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I don't think traveling is in my future probably ever. I'll probably never leave the United States, unfortunately, because of some things that are outside of my control at this point. We're never going to use trapping. Speaking is useless. Speaking is useless. So basically, do you want to learn unarmed or do you want to learn unarmed? Is what it comes down to. Or handguns, which we're never going to use handguns. Could raise our mechanics to 8. I guess we'll raise mechanics. I don't know what it's good for beyond 5, but we'll do it. So I don't think traveling's in my future. I would love to travel. I've always wanted to go to Wales. I knew a girl when I was young who was from Wales, and it always seemed like a beautiful, wonderful country. So that was on my list of places to possibly go, but now it's looking like that's probably not doable. Just eat some random crap. Drink some water. Continue reading. Always wanted to go to Japan. I've always had a love of the Japanese culture. The sort of, I don't know how to describe it, the sort of distant, I don't know, they prioritize family, but they're also a relatively closed emotionally kind of people, which I've always sort of appreciated because I've always been very uncomfortable by displays of emotion. Always wanted to go to France. When I was young, I wanted to go to France and be an artist. Of course, that never really panned out. I'm a writer. I'm not an artist at this point. So I would rather travel, I think, than spend time sailing around the world. The fact that I can't swim is a real negative. We drank a lot, but we're dehydrated at this point. We don't seem to be starving, so that's good. I'm gonna make some oatmeal. That's a good filling. Food. Deluxe oatmeal requires sugar, molasses, or coffee syrup. We could do that because we're never going to use the coffee syrup. Water. Really? 87 calories. Let's do that again. Oatmeal and coffee syrup. Only 87 calories. That's ridiculous. I keep saying that I notice about food in this game. Seems like the caloric values are all really messed up. I'm sure they're probably based on real world values, but they're ultimately very disappointing as a person who's trying to eat to fill their character up. Drank quite a lot. We should be okay for food. Is it daylight? It is daylight. We'll step outside to read. Yeah, so sailing to me is just a very scary prospect because I can't swim. And I have no interest in learning to swim, really. I mean, I can swim. I just don't swim very well. What would be the scariest monster you could imagine? Oh, my stepfather, I guess. That's probably a horrible answer. I don't know. Anything Cthulhu-ish is pretty horrifying, I guess. Anything Cthulhu-ish is usually pretty scary. You know, those kind of nightmare creatures that you dream about, but you never really know what they are pretty horrifying. I'd hate to bump into something like that in real life. Peckish, hungry, thirsty, or peckish and thirsty. Drink a bunch. Go to bed again. Just burning time, building our skills. At this point, we're kind of wasting time because building those skills are skills we're not even really going to use. But again, it's the last recording of the day. I kind of just want to unwind and talk a little bit and, you know, maybe tell some stories that they come to mind. I don't know. Monsters are scary. All monsters are scary. Pyramid Head, despite being goofy and ridiculous, was scary to me when I was a teenager. So it's like, you know, pretty much any monster is scary because it is, by definition, a monster. Let's get ourselves another question. What's the best sitcom, past or present? Sitcoms are terrible. Pretty much all of them follow the same sort of rote, ridiculous storylines and are not very good to watch. That being said, I have watched, of course, Seinfeld was very big when I was young. I watched a little bit of Modern Family. I actually think Modern Family is very poorly written. I get why it became popular, but I think it's only popular because people assume that anything that pretends to be progressive is good, which is not necessarily true. There are plenty of things that try really hard to force a sort of progressive attitude that are actually stupid, are actually things that are not actually progressive. They just give the illusion that they're progressive. So Modern Family, you see, oh, it's a gay family. They adopt a small Asian child. It's the white upper class kind of family, middle class family. You know, the father with the immigrant wife. You know, it's like they tried really hard to stand out, and I think that it was, it just feels fake. It just feels really, really fake to me to watch that show. So, not a fan of Modern Family. Can't really think of any other sitcoms. I have no frigging clue what I should make for food. It seems like every time I look at the food menu, there's 1,000 recipes that we can't make, and all the ones that we can make are some like crappy, ridiculously low-calorie food, and all the ones I want to make are like they have 6 components. So in order to make, you know, one thing, you have to have 10 other things. You want to make a sloppy joe? Well, you need to have a bread item. You need to have a veggie item for tomato. You need to have meat. And it's like, at the end of the day, it says 391 calories. If I made this, it'd probably give me like 180 calories, and it would just piss me off. So I don't know what to make anymore. I'm just going to keep eating this crap, I guess. We have all this like corn cereal and wheat cereal that are pretty filling. Let's drink some pine needle tea because we're out of water. Let's make some clean water. Yeah, sitcoms just aren't good, man. Like, the writing is always a joke. They're writing for the lowest common denominator. They're writing for people who, you know, are not... I mean, I'm not going to say the brightest, because I'm not saying that you're stupid if you like sitcoms. It's more like they write them so that they're understood by literally anyone who watches them. Handful of... Okay. How long do these go bad? 2 days. Okay. Whatever. We'll hang on to them and we'll eat them at our leisure. We'll just eat them. Who cares? Drop the seeds for next year, I guess. Not that I expect our character to make it to next year. Honestly, if we get to the point where we're raiding labs, I'll just call it on this character. Like, if we find power armor, I'm just going to say, hey, you know, he's gone as far as he can go. We've already basically beaten the game, and then I'll just end the series, because like we're already to the point where there's not much that scares us, and I'm not going to do another like 150 episodes of this guy just wandering around once he has everything, you know. So we could still die. I mean, don't get me wrong, we could definitely still be killed. And as winter comes, the evolution for monsters is going to kick up. We're going to start seeing harder and harder monsters. But for now, I'm not super concerned. Let's get another question. What game or movie universe would you most like to live in? Oh, I don't know. Something with space. Space is pretty cool. I mean, space is scary, don't get me wrong. But space is pretty cool. Wrestling moves. We'll read the unarmed. We're never going to use it. Space is cool. I don't know. I like The Expanse. Is a pretty neat sci-fi series. I'm a big fan of those books. Although I don't know that I would want to necessarily live in them, because it's constantly under threat by like world apocalyptic, universe-ending type threats. I love Dead Space as well, but obviously same problem. Big old monsters that dismember people. Not really my idea of a comfortable living situation. But yeah, something with space, I guess. Not Star Wars or Star Trek. Those are pretty tame in the realm of space. Like I would want like super space stories. Like I would like The Expanse, where it's you know, it's about a potential future for humanity. Yes, the science is a little outrageous, and the functioning engines that allow you to travel very close to the very fast speeds. It's like, yeah, that's unrealistic, but for the most part, the story is plausible, or the idea behind it is plausible, which I really like. So I'm just puttering around the base at this point, not doing anything. Why don't we call it here? I feel like I've done nothing and accomplished nothing, and today was a bad batch of recordings. Hopefully you watched them and enjoyed them. All one person who's been watching my videos, thank you very much. I appreciate your attention. For now, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these episodes, maybe click that like button. And if you enjoy me as an individual, maybe click that subscribe button, because I could always use some more subscribers. Everybody who likes, subscribes, and comments makes me a little more likely to show up in the list of videos on YouTube, and that's very helpful. So if you're interested, please do those things. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.